This inside line is all about the Sur-Ron Lite BX. Now I'm going to dive into what I really like about this thing, the things that I modified on it, and why I'm not going to be selling my gas-powered dirt bikes just yet. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Now I picked this up from Unicycle out of California, middle of last year. Now they are currently the only manufacturer or the only shop that is a distributor for Sur-Ron in the US. Now, that being said, you can actually get this bike as a Segway in the X260 version. Now, it's a little bit more expensive. They have an app that allows you to adjust some of the controls and things like that on it, but if you're looking for one of these and you know Unicycle is out, that is an option. So let's jump right into what this thing is, why I got it, and what I do with it, and I guess really what I think of it. So it is an e-bike, but maybe not in the strictest terms. Now, if you've been looking for different e-bikes like I was, you probably found there's a handful of them out there, but not many are really off-road oriented. And that's really what I was chasing. I wanted something that I could ride on the trails, in the dirt, not really looking for motocross track or anything like that, just mostly trail riding, something I can take out with my kids and something I can take on different adventures. This seemed to be the bike that made the most sense on paper, and once I got it, I really do think it was a good investment. Now, it has a 60-volt battery that's built by Panasonic, and it has a 80-amp controller. This is the X all black version that's currently available, and that power combo is pretty adequate. Now, this has been, I guess, the green wire cut, so all of the nannies are removed, and that basically means it's got all the beans that that you're going to get out of it in sport mode, and that equates to top speed of around 50 miles an hour, and it feels pretty powerful. It's hard to compare it, you know, dirt bike wise. I primarily ride 250 4-strokes, and it's definitely not as powerful as that. But out of the hole, it's got a ton of torque. It's probably more like 150 4-stroke equivalent. It's definitely more powerful than like a little pit bike for sure. It weighs 110 pounds, so it's more, I guess, motorcycle weight. And the wheelbase is more bicycle-esque. Now it has mountain bike forks on it, mountain bike brakes, mountain bike tires. It's got a lot of mountain bike features, but don't be fooled, it's definitely an electronic dirt bike. Yes, you can get a pedal kit for this that I guess you could probably squeeze by going on some bicycle trails that way. This thing's fast. I don't recommend doing that. Where I live, a lot of my trails are really soft and sandy, and if I took this thing out there on a mountain bike trail, I'd just rip it up to pieces, and I don't want to be that guy. It's got a lot of power, and especially right out of the hole, it'll tear up a trail. So I don't know if it's a great solution if you're thinking about an e-bike and you're going e-assist. I don't think this is for that. That being said, I think it's a lot of fun. I know there are more places that are opening up where you can ride these. I guess this would be considered maybe like a class 2 or class 3 e-bike. I don't know a lot about that. What I can tell you is it's a lot of fun off-road. I don't really ride it a lot on-road. So the guys that are using these things for commuters, more power to you. But I feel like at high speed especially, it's definitely not nearly as stable as like my Enduro. So I don't see the point in trying to put plates on this thing and ride it on the street. I primarily use it off-road. I've got some trails that are right behind my house that you know, can kind of reach me right here to the beach and stuff, and I will use it to ride with my daughter. She's got a little electric bike, and my son's got these little Jeep things that we follow around, and if you're a parent, it's a really good tool for that because it doesn't make any noise. So you can be right beside your kid, kind of communicating with them, especially with my daughter. It's super helpful, kind of giving her tips and on how to ride, and you can kind of hear her when she has a problem. It's just really good tool for that, and one of the reasons I'm really glad I invested in it. Now, in terms of when I want to go play with this thing and really ride it hard, I guess my expectation level wasn't super high, but it's been a lot of fun. Off-road is primarily where I take this thing, and I will say, it's got mountain bike forks that aren't super high end. You only have a rebound and a preload adjuster, which do not do much on this, on both the front or rear shock setup. That being said, I still can jump this thing. I still can womp it through the whoops. It really rides very well. I'm around 150 pounds. I think that probably helps a lot. It's still pretty compact, so it's not a very big bike, which makes it feel kind of like a mountain bike that you're slinging this thing around. It's a lot of fun off-road, and I think if you're looking for something that is a kind of a dirt bike equivalent, but you want something that doesn't make any noise and is lightweight, or maybe you're transitioning from a mountain bike into the world of dirt bikes, this is a great sort of in between that. If you put it in EP mode, which is, let's say it's like your detuned mode, it's very user-friendly. I can hand it to my wife, which is not an experienced rider, and she can go ride around and have fun. You can really hand it to about anybody, and it'll take a lot of this crazy like whiskey throttle that you might get and get it out. I love that it's really almost instant power. You do have to spin the throttle a bit more than I like, to get to where you're getting that power engage. I wish it was a little bit quicker, quarter throttle, because a lot of times I end up just ripping on this thing, and you're really holding it wide open. So that's kind of a negative for that, but I run the tires around 24 PSI. That seems to be a good pressure to make this thing ride really well off-road, kind of help with some of the suspension shortcomings and take up a lot of the small imperfections. So I have been burning through the back tire tread pretty good. I'm probably gonna have to step up, do something with that. Thinking maybe next tires will be a set of actual dirt bike tires. I ditched the sensors that were on the brakes. Basically, you grab the brake and it would cut power. Really made it clunky to ride, so I got rid of those. I pulled the front headlight off of it, primarily because I'm not going to ride it at night. I just wanted to do everything I could to keep the battery, to get as much charge out of it as I could. Rear fender, the most worthwhile investment by a mile. The stock one is super short. This one really helps with keeping stuff off of your back, and I cannot tell you, I wish I had done that immediately, because just riding behind my kids and playing in the woods, I'd always come back and there's mud and sand in your back from it just getting launched all over. So those were the main modifications I've done to it. I guess one of the biggest advantages of this bike that I think not enough people talk about is it only weighs 110 pounds, and it makes it really mobile. So you can toss it kind of anywhere. It's one of the reasons why you see so many of my truck reviews over the past 8 months. I've had this thing with me because it doesn't take a lot of room. I can turn it in the bed, strap it down by the foot pegs, and I can go off-road with this thing. It doesn't, fly around too crazy, and I can go ride kind of anywhere I take the trucks and have a little bit of fun. This is always, dirt bikes have always been my hobby. Trucks and reviews more my career. So these are just an absolute blast for that. So if you're doing a lot of traveling or overlanding, I think this is an awesome thing to take with you. Is it going to replace my gas-powered bikes? I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Let's talk about battery range and battery life. So off-road, typically, I get a range anywhere between 16 to 25 miles out of the battery. Now that's getting the battery down to about 11%. Keeping in mind at 20%, it's gonna start cutting power on you. So you really only have about 80% of battery to really have fun with. And it is fun, it's a blast. But my worst sort of range has been 16 miles of, on it off-road use. And my best off-road use, which again, still on it, has been around 25. Now taking this thing to the mountains, like Warrior National Forest, it does have a regenerative feature on it, so it'll give you a little bit of battery when you're off the gas in sport mode. It'll kind of help charge, so going down hills, you got a little something there, but still not a huge amount of range that you're going to get out of this thing in general. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I would go into making this thing full potential, because dumping, you know, $1,700 to a new set of forks, and then, you know, a ton of money into different wheels, and then doing the different controllers, you know, you're going to have, you know, 6-7 grand in this thing before you know it. And, you know, I'm not sure for the range right now, I feel like it's worth it. I think it's a blast. I really enjoy it, but like I have a WR250R, and I just picked up a KTM that are my offer-oriented bikes, and I like the fact right now I can still just fill them up with gas and keep going. I also like the fact that they're really easy to plate. You can, you know, have a street legal on-road off-road dirt bike, and this thing is a little bit more complicated if you're going to try to put plates on it. Not something that I plan on doing right now. In my state of North Carolina, I think I could make this thing a moped and put a moped plate on it, but again, I don't see the point. It doesn't feel super stable at 50 miles an hour on the street, I can tell you that much. So I don't think that's a route I want to go. But for a toy, something that I can use almost daily with my kids because they're constantly out riding on our trails and stuff, I think it's been a good investment for me. I think they're a lot of fun. Keep in mind, this thing is not very big. I'm going to show you a clip here of it next to my WR250R, and it'll kind of give you a better sense of just like how compact this thing is. I think it's great. It makes it very not intimidating, but kind of keep that in mind. If you're a bigger guy, this might not be super comfortable for you. You're probably going to want to do taller bars and maybe even the taller 21-inch wheel like a lot of people opt for. Overall, super stoked on it. I think it's a cool bike. Appreciate you guys asking about it. Like I say, I primarily do truck reviews, so I don't really film my bikes a lot. That's always been sort of like my just keep it off, not filming, have fun thing. So I tried to kind of put some clips together of some fun I've had with this thing, and you know, I like it a lot. It's just a neat bike. But if you guys have any more questions, you can feel free to hit me up at Ali Mansour Editor on Instagram. Please be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel. We got a lot of really cool stuff coming to it. And so hope everybody's staying safe, and hope to see you on the trail soon. Bye-bye.